So you want to buy night vision. Cool, me too. But first you have to ask yourself, what do you want to do with your night vision? The use you have in mind shapes the choices you will make, as does the budget you have to do so with. I'm going to tell you what I get for various budgets today, as well as line out various upgrades you could do down the line or up front, and the order I do them in. First off, why do you want night vision? You just want to own the night and be dangerous 24/7? Worried about social unrest or riots? Want to kill a bunch of hogs or coyotes on your farm? All of these answers shape your gear. As a general rule, for people more worried about social unrest, I'd focus on the night vision devices themselves and multiples. Being able to move you and your family quickly and quietly at night without using lights that draw attention is very useful. For hunters, I'd steer you towards a thermal sight, as detection of the animals is much easier with thermal. Night vision is almost secondary in this use for driving and moving from area to area. For my future owners of the night, you're going to need tools and the training, so don't forget to budget time and ammo to get good at the things you want to do. As far as budget, I'm going to cover budgets ranging from $1,000 to $3,000 in this video. Hopefully we'll have another soon covering higher. I think explaining why I make the choices I make is important, as I want you to make these decisions for yourself, not just take my word for it. What works for me and my friends may not work for you. I prioritize seeing better over comfort, and I prioritize value for dollar over a warranty that won't cover most of the ways your night vision will die. Starting on the super low end, a budget of $1,000 is pretty hard to get going with these days. The used market is very inflated right now, and it's hard to buy any image intensifying device for $1,000, let alone a head mountable one. My recommendation in this area is to find a used Psyonix Aurora variant. They used to be around the $600 marks, which leaves you with some budget for a cheap helmet and mount to get it hands-free. We'll cover that later. They aren't as good as traditional image intensified night vision, but they have their place. They're also great for spotting flashlight or IR users if you just want to avoid people, and later if you get Gen 3 night vision, they can be useful for recording footage of your shenanigans. If you're looking to just stuff it in the get home bag, check out the Crye Nightcap as it packs down small. Hunters, you're probably going to be looking at a digital night vision scope, and unfortunately I have zero experience here, so I won't give any guidance. Next, the $2,000 mark. Is it even possible to get night vision for under $2,000? Yes, I've done it. Here's the first 14 I ever bought, which coincidentally was the first 14 of 3 of my close friends. It's kind of the Village bicycle. It's got a pretty wicked center blend, but it's actually a solid unit, and the tube compares comparably to an Omni 7 TNVC 14 side by side. At this price point, you can't be picky. You're looking at a blimmed 14 or a 7 these days. Try not to spend more than $1,500 on the unit, which will mean some waiting or hunting for deals on ARF, Facebook, or Instagram. 2 things you want to look out for are try and get an autogated tube, which means it will protect itself when exposed to bright lights, and if it's a 14, you really want manual gain, so that you can control the brightness so that the eye under night vision doesn't get blown out by the bright screen. You might have to buy a non-standard housing such as a MUM or AGM Micro to fit the budget. As far as 7 versus 14, I'd go 14 every day, but a good 7 is viable if that's all you can afford. Please do not pay $2,000 for a PVS 7 in 2020. If you spend more, be prepared to sacrifice some of the other parts of your setup. As far as those go, I'd have to recommend going cheap on the helmet with an airsoft bump helmet or a surplus ACH if ballistic is a need of yours. Your mount will probably be a Rhino. I strongly suggest the Rhino 2 over the Rhino 1 as it has a height adjustment, and they tend to be in much better shape as they're not as old. They're all over eBay for under $100, the lower the better. Yes, the bayonet mount sucks. It just pops out on its own if you bump the lever. I'd recommend either swapping the shoe out for a dovetail one, or replacing the J-arm, at least using a zip tie to attach the two together so it won't pop out and dump your new toy on the ground. Playing Find the PVS 14 in a pile of leaves in the woods is a lot less fun than it sounds. The Naruto's Dual Dovetail Adapter, or DDA, is a great solution if you want to lose the J-arm on a budget. I'd also get a counterweight for your helmet, especially if it's a bump. Literally anything with some mass attached to the rear of the helmet will do. Fishing weights, a pistol mag, strobe, anything. You should have about $250 left, which will buy you a laser for rifle or pistol. I recommend your rifle. Look at the Holosun 117 series or the Steiner Mini Tor if you can catch it in stock. Not optimal, but will get you hitting targets in the dark. Another option is the Streamlight TLR2 VIR, as I have an example here. These The Illuminator will be short ranged, somewhere around 50 to 60 yards, but it has a great pointer, and it gets you out there shooting targets in the dark, and later you can transition it to your pistol. Hunters, here you should be looking at entry-level thermals, like the FLIR PTS-223 or the RQ series from Pulsar. These allow you to get out hunting, but they will have their drawbacks compared to more advanced units. $3,000. Now, there's two ways to approach this. You could take your $2,000 PVS-14 setup presented above and just improve it. Get a Norotos INVG, one of my favorite mounts for a monocular, 4D pads, helmet-mounted Illuminator or EarPro, a better rifle laser. This is a good option, but remember, trinkets don't replace training. If buying used night vision scares you, and trust me, I get that, here's where you can buy in with a new Gen 3 unit. There's many good places to get a Gen 3 PVS-14 for $2,500 or so. You'll probably be buying a green phosphor unit, but don't worry about it, it won't matter so much. You might get lucky and snag an Elbit 14 from TNVC when they reopen the sale. I strongly recommend this, as they're a great source and they are great value for the dollar. Just know you'll probably have to wait a while for that. That includes all new 14s, as there is a current backlog on the market. Just apply the above solution to get it on your head for $500 or so, including a laser. You own the night people should seriously consider adding a passive aiming setup, like a good night vision compatible red dot on a tall riser. It's hard to own the night when you draw a line right back to yourself every time you shoot. Active and passive both have their place, but being able to do both is better than being limited. Anyone who tells you different is lying. Now you have your new night vision, and you've taken the required pictures of your toilet for induction to the Cool Kids Club. Now what? Get out there and use it. A lot of you guys don't have a place to shoot at night, and that's okay. Once you get your equipment dialed, shooting at realistic distances at night is actually very easy. The hard part? Movement. Get out there and move. Go find a state park that isn't closed at night and go for a walk or a hike. Chase the dog or kid around at the house. Hell, go play soccer under nods. That'll really teach you how to be coordinated under nods. This is a great way to get friends under night vision involved. Dry fire. Practice your reloads and weapon manipulations. When you finally do get to a live fire range, it's not the time to learn your magazines are backwards in the pouch or you don't know how to clear a malfunction. Zero your lasers. I like a co-witness zero where I just overlap my IR laser dot on my night vision compatible optic at the furthest distance I can easily see. So what should you do or not do with your new to me night vision? Well, first off, store it with the batteries out. I only use lithium batteries, but either way, you want to store it turned off, battery out, preferably in a safe, dark place. When you let your friends use it, keep an eye on them, so don't drop it or leave it sitting turned on pointing at your porch light. Avoid avoidable exposure to bright light. Hopefully your device is auto-gated, so it should try and protect itself, but there's only so much it can do when systems fail. Don't freak out over light exposure though. Looking at a street light for a few seconds won't damage your tube, nor will someone turning on their headlights. Try not and drop the unit. Drops can cause blemishes in the tube to appear and other failures to manifest. You should seriously make sure you go check out the stars. Thank you for watching. I hope to have a video soon covering higher budgets and entry duels.